Okay, good morning to you. We're going to be turning the channel, so to speak, turning the page. We're going to start looking at Jesus. We spent a lot of time talking about the Garden of Eden, talking about Adam and Eve, talking about what God had intended for Adam and Eve, what God planned for them, what He purposed for them, and how He basically gave them a choice. There's two ways of living. You can live from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or you can live from the tree of life. God's intention was always life. It was always this second tree, life. You could look at the past videos to see teaching on this. His intention for them was life, and life looked like this. It looked like union, being in a relationship of union with God. They chose the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and what God had intended, union, ended up becoming separation. Man is now separated from God. And that's actually what the tree of the knowledge of good and evil offers. The root system, let's put it that way, the root system of this tree is the two strands, and those strands are separated. The root system of the tree of life is union. Those strands are together. So man is not whole. Adam and Eve come out of the garden. They are not whole. They are separated. If we're to ask the question, okay, so what would Adam and Eve, what would Adam and Eve's life look like? Had it not been for the fall? It's a good question, isn't it? Do you ever wonder that? What would Adam and Eve, what would their life look like? What kind of life could they live? What would their life have looked like had it not been for the fall? That's a great question. The answer to that question is Jesus. In fact, let me put him out here. A little erasing. What Adam and Eve's life have looked like had it not been for the fall? The answer is Jesus. Look to Jesus and the kind of life He lives, and you will see the kind of life that Adam and Eve could have lived, what their life would have looked like. Because remember what Jesus does now. This is going to be something you're going to have to wrestle with. God's mission is His glory, and His glory is to reveal Himself and for us to rejoice in that revelation. You need to go to God and ask Him to reveal to you the significance of Jesus. Jesus reaches back, takes this tree, the tree of life, and lives on the basis of that tree. The union that Adam and Eve had that was lost, Jesus is going to live from that union. And His life is going to be, in every aspect, miraculous. Right? You'll see it in the scriptures, the Christian scriptures. We're going to be looking at this. His life and the life He lived. It is absolutely miraculous. Things that man could not do, Jesus is doing. Why? Because Jesus is with God. And here's where it's going to get tricky. You're going to have to keep asking God to reveal the truth. Does Jesus live the kind of life He lives because He's God? Or does Jesus live the kind of life He lives because He's man, rightly related to God, the way God intended man to be related to God all along? And you're going to hear me suggesting it's the second, not the former. He lives the kind of life He lives because He's man. He lets go of being God. He chooses not to play the God card. We'll look at that in another teaching. You'll see that in the book of Philippians. It's the fact that Jesus lives out of union in his relationship with God, that he lives the kind of life he lives. Now for us, we're going to find later on, we can experience reunion. This damage that was done in the garden is not permanent. Through Jesus and because of Jesus, we can experience reunion. Jesus does not need to experience reunion. That's the significance of the virgin birth. The virgin birth with Mary, right? The virgin birth means Jesus is always operating from a place of union. Another way to say it, Jesus never had a sinful nature. Why? Because the sinful nature is passed on from the Father through the Mother, from the Father through the Mother, from the Father through the Mother. But Jesus is born of a virgin, no father. He is without a sinful nature. And I'm just going to introduce a paperclip, because I'm going to show this later on in teachings. Let's call a paperclip our sinful nature. Jesus is without the sinful nature. That's the significance of the virgin birth. So he lives in union, does not know what sin means, does not know what it means to live separated from God because of the virgin birth. We do know what sin means. We do know what it means to live separated from God, because we inherit that from Adam. Adam provides. Because of Adam, we know separation. With Jesus, we can know reunion. We can be reunited to the kind of relationship that Jesus lived over here in relationship with the Father. So here we go. We're going to start drilling down on Jesus and asking these good questions, because they're important and they matter. So welcome to Rediscovering Jesus. See you in the next video.